you look back, I'm pleased with last week's game of, like we continue to say, different guys step up, make plays when we need them to make plays for us, and find a way to win games. I think, different guys have stepped up every game to make plays for us to help us win. So, you look at that, but that game's way behind us at this point, moving on to a very, very difficult Arkansas team. A team that plays excellent defense. They got a great defensive line. They run the football very, very aggressive style defense that they play. They've been very successful against a lot of high potent offenses this year. Really, you look at, besides a couple of big plays at the end of the game, slowed down A&M, which is, everybody knows, one of the top offenses in the country, and really shut down Alabama, who's a big explosive offense as well. So a great challenge with the physicality of their defense and how fast they are on defense. For us on the offense side of the ball, what makes it a challenge with how good they are on defense, you don't get many opportunities at the ball. They got the biggest offensive line in the United States, including pro football. So they're a big, big physical outfit, two of the top tailbacks in the country. Two guys over 700 yards already this season and at the tailback position. Then a quarterback that, when he gets us, can really throw the football, and it's very, very efficient throwing the football. And to stop the run, and because they're so physical and so strong running the ball, they get some pretty good throw looks for him to take opportunities one-on-one down the field, and then they have the mismatches with a really athletic tight end. So a huge challenge for us, coming into this game this week. It'll be obviously every conference game is a huge challenge. And, they're just another great SEC team that we're going to have to find a way to win.
Questions? Get a mic.
And congrats to our women's golf team being ranked number 1 in the country. That's pretty awesome. So it's pretty big time.
Coach, you guys are like watching Bernard Hopkins. Every time a team punches you in the mouth, you punch them right back. How's that counter-punchability? Where does that come from?
A lot of it is the toughness, and you look at the offseason with guys that have been in the program, that have been developed within the program for a while, and been around and understand it. We're here to play 60-minute football games, and we go in and we understand that the other team's going to make plays. They're going to make plays on offense, they're going to make plays on defense, they're going to make plays in the kicking game. And the key to that is when that happens, put the ball down, play the next play. You're not always going to feel good. Things aren't always going to go your way during the course of the game. I think when you have some maturity, which we have within our program, when those things start to happen, guys don't really worry that much about it. They just, hey, there's absolutely nothing you can do about the play that just happened. Absolutely nothing. All you can do is worry about the next play. And I think our guys really understand that. And so, they don't get caught up in any sort of the panic or letting a situation kind of slip too far out of control.
As the only undefeated team in the SEC remaining at this point, does the kind of the playoff system start for you? Since if you went out, you're seemingly in.
The playoff system, I think, in the SEC kind of started 8 weeks ago, or however long ago it is in this league. That starts game 1 for us. I don't know. You look for us. I think our focus is beating Arkansas again. That's like coach talk, but. To me, as soon as you start thinking about more than the next play, more than the next even opponent, to get past that, you're not going to be very, very successful, And so, for us, that's kind of been the approach. We'll worry about trying to beat Arkansas, and if we're able to do that, then our focus will go to UT Martin, which is a big homecoming game, even though it's not a conference game.
You talked on Saturday about Caleb Fuel, so he's one of your favorite players. Just what makes him so special, and just talk about his role, because he's not one of the more flashy guys, I guess, on that defensive line.
Well, because, Caleb's a guy that is bought into our program and believes in what we do here, and he comes and he works hard every day. You know, I mean, he's not the biggest guy on the D line, not the fastest guy on the D line, not the strongest guy on the D line. You know, but he really works his technique, his fundamentals. He gives you maximum effort, and he's always going to give you everything that he has. And you know, on top of that, he's a great young man. You know, you know, you just look at him as a guy, and he's been like that since he came in. You know, I mean, he's still Caleb Mules. You know, I mean, he's still the person that shows up and is a great kid every day, and everything that's gone on with him. You know, with a bus incident in high school, a guy coming from a small town into the SEC, all that, he's still just Caleb Mules that's going to show up and be who he is and give you his best effort every day.
After the game, you kind of voiced some displeasure over the defense and kind of that 1B group.
Yeah.
What was the conversation like with Jeff Collins, and how did they respond in practice yesterday?
Pretty good. The conversation, Jeff had his displeasure with the 1B group too. We're all on the same page on that. So, you know, when you look at it, statistically, the 1Bs, you know, we were wholesaling. I think we had 22 plays of 1Bs and 50 plays of 1As or something on the field. And then there was a lot of mix and match in between for some other plays. But in those 22 plays, the 1Bs gave up more yards and more than double the points. The 1As and gave up in twice as many plays. And, you know, so, I mean, our discussion with those guys on that is, you know, I mean, your reps are contingent upon how will you perform in games. Now, you're going to continue to get reps because we're not going to change who we are. We're going to play a lot of guys, rotate in. But, you know, I think one of the things that you saw in that, a lot of the guys that are 1Bs, I tell this, a lot of younger players, maybe they haven't put in 4 years of weight room and off-season conditioning and games and battling and fighting. You know, the guys are a little bit younger that are getting the reps. They're the ones that enjoy the pat on the backs maybe a little bit more than everybody else. You know, the other guys get a pat on the back and say, okay, that's great, but I mean, I know how much I've put in to get here. Some of those guys say, hey, you know, I had that one tough off season or 2 tough off seasons, and, you know, I'm a young guy, and, yeah, pat me on the back, tell me how great I am. And so, you know, what they have to understand is how hard they have to work, and there was a lot of focus on that at practice yesterday, making sure that the effort level of the 1Bs are where they need to be at.
How much thought was put into maybe sending Evan Sobieski out there for the field goal and maybe substituting someone else for Jamoral Graham with the kind of the fumble problems he's had back there?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jamoral, we feel pretty confident catching the punch. You know, we have some other guys that work back there, and, you know, especially with Jameon still banged up, not getting a lot of reps at it. You know, hopefully this week now he's 100%. I want to say, you know, he played in the game, Jameon did, and, you know, it was one of those that he, like I said, he was cleared to play, but as soon as we got sore, we wanted to pull him, and that's what we did, and we hope he'll be able to play the full game this week. But so we felt pretty confident with Jamoral back there. But, you know, the field goal was one of those right on the edge decisions for us. And, you know, it's something that we've been working a little bit with Logan because he's got the big leg and he's doing the kickoffs for us. You know, and the funny thing with Logan, I mean, he hit I think at Thursday's practice, he hit a 57-yard field goal in a team situation. So, I mean, he's got the leg to get it there. And it really, I look at the issue. The miss, first with the miss, was all my fault. You know, because I told him, and you know, he takes coaching very well, which is pretty good for a young guy. I said, listen, so the first thing's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of adrenaline to go kick that field goal. And you're going to really kind of rush with so much adrenaline over stride. And when you do, you're going to end up pushing it off to the right. So just relax when you get out there to go do it. But I've never seen anybody try to kick a ball more relaxed than he did in his life. I mean, it was like he was just kind of tapping it over there. So he took coaching really well, but he was so relaxed, he stepped short and hooked it way to the left. You know, so that's a good thing that, you know, I mean, he was listening to what was going on, and he tried to do what we asked him to do. But it was right on the edge right there. You know, and in that situation, I wanted to, you know, in my mind, sometimes I'm looking ahead also and saying, you know, what happens here? This is a fourth quarter game. We get in the fourth quarter and we got to kick a 48-yard field goal to win it. And that's going to go on to Logan's plate right there. And I don't know that would have, I mean, that'd be tough to ask him for that for his first field goal in his career, even though I think he'd be fine with it. So in that situation, I thought it was an opportunity. It was, on the edge for Evan. Evan been kicking really well. I would have felt confident, I guess, putting him out there. But, again, I don't want to put him beyond his range and then, have him kind of get out of his rhythm. I think he's kicking the ball very, very well for us right now. So to force him out of his rhythm, so I don't know. I mean, worked out okay for us. We won the game. So, but and Logan's now got experience. He's got a kick under his belt for when, he's going to have some bigger ones come up, I'm sure, as the season moves on.
Any updates on Brandon Hill or any other guys?
Yeah, I just saw, Brandon was in the game, I think, in the last play of the game. So, I mean, it's going to be kind of a thing. He should be good to go for Saturday. Might be sore, and we'll limit him a little bit of practice this week for some different things. That's about it. I think injury-wise, we got out of there pretty healthy. I think. I mean, your typical bumps and bruises, and I mean, want to get investment in the walking boots. I mean, because about 30 different guys. Some got them on both feet walking around, but this time of the season, they're going to, it's more of a fashion statement, I think, for our team than anything else this time of the year.
What Josh and Dak have fed off each other this year, and that combination in the run game?
I think it's been pretty good for us. I mean. One, it's one of those things we want to make people defend all 11 guys out there on the field, and and so when you have your running back that's putting up big numbers that can hit the home run and explosive plays, he draws a lot of attention. Well, that takes a lot of the pressure off of Dak, but also takes a lot of the attention off of Dak, which is going to allow him to make bigger plays. You look at our receivers. I think we have 10 different wide receivers, or 10 different, not wide receivers, just 10 different guys have caught touchdown passes for us this year. I think that's a great deal too. I mean, we want to be. When you talk about being a balanced offense, it's not always just about just run and pass and number of calls or yards. It is guys that are out there on the field that we're going to put guys out there that you have to defend. And if if we're going to have an advantageous matchup, we're going to put somebody in a position that can take advantage of that matchup.
Talk to John about installing any pass plays for your offensive line.
No, but I did hear it from them. Blaine actually can throw the ball. He's probably got the strongest arm on the team. They have little competitions. I think he threw it 75 yards the other day. I mean, he got a hose. Blaine Clausell does. He's up there with our two young quarterbacks. The older guys can't throw it as far as those guys can. So I guess if we ever had like a really long Hail Mary, we'd have to figure something else out and put a left tackle in and put Blaine at quarterback, because I think he could probably throw it 75 to 80 yards. So, but that's, you look at Arkansas, no wonder they're able to recruit such good linemen. I have not. I'm sure Brett goes into the house, sits down with them, draws up the play and says, we're going to get you as a lineman. You're going to be on Plays of the Week on SportsCenter throwing touchdown passes for us. So it's something I got to look at in recruiting circles to keep up with Brett and how he's getting those good linemen in there.
Speaking kind of quarterbacks, and Dak had, I think, 3 interceptions the last 2 games. Some of them seem to be kind of his fault, not his fault. How did you evaluate the 3 plays?
Well, I evaluate them all differently.
Right.
I would have the one on Saturday. Had pressure in his face. I really would probably rather him just try to quick check the ball down instead of trying to, take the shot down the field while he was getting hit. One in the end zone. He put the ball up. I don't mind that. I wish probably would have been a little bit more to the back pylon, but gave an opportunity one-on-one to a receiver. The only bad one I thought was the one, he underthrew Durunya on the sideline. Really was the only bad one in the last couple of weeks. And even that, I know what he was trying to do. I just didn't like. I didn't like his read off of the coverage on that play. But overall, I don't mind. Mine are. I get upset when you got bad decisions. When you're making a throw, over the middle and hits a linebacker like right between the numbers. Like the guy you're reading, or you're moving the keys on plays. When you start throwing picks to them, that's when you got a problem.